Hi there, it's Matthew, and I'm sitting here in my office in Concord. I hope you're staying warm in this cold weather. I wanted to take just a few minutes to talk to you about the story we read in church this last Sunday. Now, the story we read was taken from the Old Testament, from the book of Samuel, and it took place during a time when the children of Israel were not doing a good job of following the Lord and keeping his commandments. So we know that when we don't follow the Lord and we don't keep his commandments, bad things start to happen to us. So, sure enough, in our story for today, because they were not doing a good job of following the Lord, bad things were happening to the children of Israel. They went to battle with the Philistines, one of their great enemies. And in the first battle they faced with the Philistines, they ended up losing. About 4,000 of their men died that day. So, of course, the children of Israel got together and they started to think about what they could do in order to beat the Philistines the next time they faced them in battle. And so, what they decided is that they would bring the Ark of the Covenant with them to the next battle. Some of you might remember the Ark of the Covenant. We have a model of it here at the church that some of you probably helped make several years ago. And do you remember what the children of Israel kept in the Ark? What was kept in the Ark of the Covenant? It was a copy of the Ten Commandments, right? And the children of Israel were correct, because in the past, the Ark of the Covenant had brought them great victory over their enemies. So the children of Israel brought the ark with them to their camp. And when the ark arrived, I have a picture of it here, all of the children of Israel shouted for joy that the ark had arrived. They shouted so loud, in fact, that we're told that the earth shook. And when this happened, the Philistines became absolutely terrified because they had heard about this ark and how powerful the God of the Israelites, Jehovah, was. However, you might remember that we were saying that during this time, the children of Israel were not doing a good job of following the Lord. So instead of having victory, even during this second battle, some horrible things happened to the children of Israel. First of all, they lost the battle again. And this time, almost 30,000 of their men ended up dying in the battle. Eli, who was the high priest at the time, and his two sons were killed. And most importantly, and most terribly, the Ark of the Covenant was taken captive by the Philistines. They captured the ark. Now, when the Philistines captured the ark, they took it back to one of their towns called Ashdod. And there they put the ark into the temple of one of their gods, whose name was Dagon. I have a picture of this temple with Dagon in it. And if you look carefully here, you will see that this idol of Dagon they had in the temple was interesting, because Dagon was a god that had a body like a fish. You see his body like a fish there? But he had hands and a head like a person or like a man. So he had the body of a fish and he had the hands and the head of a man. And they put the temple again, or excuse me, the ark into this temple. Now, we know that the Philistines were not being very good either. The Philistines weren't great people, and they were not choosing to follow the Lord either. So when the ark came into the town of the Philistines, bad things began to happen to the Philistines as well. And two bad things happened specifically. First, when they woke up in the morning, they found that something horrible had happened to Dagon, their god, their false god. Dagon had fallen down on the ground before the Ark of the Covenant, and his hands and his head had fallen off. I have a picture of this as well. Here's Dagon, you can see now, fallen down. His hands and his head had fallen off, and all that was left was the fish part there of his body, really showing them that no false god could stand in the presence of the Lord in the ark, the one God of heaven and earth. Now, that, though, wasn't the only bad thing that happened. After they woke up in the morning and found that their God had fallen, the people of the city of Ashdod began to get horrible tumors, kind of sicknesses, all over their bodies. Horrible tumors that were actually killing or began to kill some of them. And also, mice or rats began to infest their land and ravish their crops, destroying their vegetables and their other food. Now, when this began to happen, you can imagine that the Philistines in the city of Ashdod began to not want the ark in their city anymore. So what did they do? Well, they took the ark and they decided to send it to another city of the Philistines, this time a city called Gath. And sure enough, when the ark arrived in Gath, guess what happened? The people in that city began to get tumors all over their bodies. They became sick, began to die, and rats or mice began to infest that city as well. So what did the people of Gath do? Well, they didn't want the ark anymore in their city, so they sent it on to a city called Ekron. Now, when the people in the city of Ekron saw this ark coming, they heard what it had done to the people in the other cities where it dwelled. So they did not want the ark coming into this city at all. They were thinking to themselves, what, are our friends trying to kill us too by sending the Ark of the Covenant into our city? They didn't want it there. So after this, the Philistines decided to call all of their lords together to decide what to do now with the ark, which was causing so much havoc and bad things to happen in their land. And what they decided is that they were now going to send the ark back to its rightful owners, back to the children of Israel. And that's where we ended the story last Sunday. So this is a great story. And if you'd like, I'd encourage you to read it on your own or to maybe have your parents read it to you. You can find it in the first book of Samuel. It's in chapters 4 and 5. And again, it's a wonderful story of what happened to the Philistines when they ended up stealing or taking captive the Ark of the Covenant. Now, next week, we're going to continue this story and read about how the Ark was sent back to the children of Israel. Again, how they actually did this. And I hope you can join us for that. We are expecting a bit of snow, I know, this weekend, but hopefully it'll hold off enough to allow us to have our worship service on Sunday. So I hope you can join us for that, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.